Parivrtta Trikonasana has always been a favorite of mine, but I find it very complicated because not only do you have to have a nice elongation on the backside of your legs, in other words, your hamstrings have to be fully prepared for the pose, and you have to be able to do some significant twisting in the pose. This is a great practice to deepen your twisted triangle pose. So let's begin. As you come to all fours position, grab your blocks. We'll step the right foot right between the blocks. As you come to a straight leg lunge with your right foot forward, lift your toes up. Have your hands to the blocks. Have your pelvis right over your left knee. Just draw your heart forward. Just kind of pulse here. Just bow forward slightly and lift up. And now just take your foot in slightly to just come to Anjaneyasana. As you just drop yourself into the pose to get the back side of the ankle and the calf muscle a little bit more alert. Come back to take the pelvis back as you lift your toes up. Have your block situated right under your shoulders. And as you engage your toes and spread your toes, you draw from the front heel back to draw down. And slowly bend your knee and drop in again to settle in. And as you do, just pay attention to the back leg. Keep that really strong so it can support maybe just a slightly deeper pose. And we'll do this one more time. So hinge yourself back to straighten your front leg. And as you do this, since we've done it a few times, just think of this as more of a dance. You're just kind of going forward and backward in your dance to create that feeling of spaciousness. So as you straighten your leg and spread your toes and lift your kneecap up toward your pelvis, you get this contraction on the front side of the leg and an expansion on the back side before bending your knee and dropping in. So as you come into the practice, just very slowly into your awareness of the back side of the leg, see how you can just cause yourself to go a little bit deeper in each action. And come back to all fours position or downward facing dog, your choice. And if you're in all fours position, have your right hand slip to the outside of the left knee as you sneak your left hand forward to give yourself a little bit of a twist. If you're in downward facing dog, same thing, but with straight legs and with feet as wide apart as the mat. Take the right hand to the outer left leg and invite this nice twist. This is a way to create that spaciousness, to create kind of this place for this inner dance to occur, this inner liveliness. Come back to the center and pause in whatever pose you were in, whether it's all fours, and take your left hand, do that outer shin, whether it's all fours or downward facing dog, where it's a shorter dog and the feet are wider apart. Just invite yourself to expand to the left side ribs now. And come back to all fours position. in all fours position, we'll do the lunge on the opposite side. So as you step your left foot forward, lift up your toes and spread your toes and start to feel just how in this side, like, are you willing to go full blast here? Are you willing to participate fully in expanding the back side of the leg? So as we start, you just kind of ease yourself into it, into this participation, this length of the back side of the leg as you contract the front side of the leg. And bend your knee and just drop yourself in. And as we start, it's kind of like you tiptoe into cold water before you jump in, just kind of checking out how this side of the pose is feeling for you, the side of the pelvis. As you open it up on the second time with your toes lifted, with your toes spread, with your heel drilling down, and you're pulling in from the heel to the pelvis to settle into the pose. And again, bend your knee to drop yourself into the pose. Just get this nice openness. And the final time, as you draw the top of the thigh back, the toes lift up, the toes spread. You're pressing down firmly through the heel, but pulling in as you go just a slightly deeper. And come back to all fours position, where we'll do the same twist that we did before. Again, in either all fours, twisting right hand to the outer left knee, maybe even inching your fingertips toward the ankle, or downward facing dog with this wide and shorter stance. Wide stance, so feet are parallel to each other, and shorter, meaning that feet are just a little bit closer to your hands than normal, so your heels can press down. As you come to whatever version of the twist feels right to you, see how you can create more space in the side body, more space through your breath. And come to the opposite side as you're ready. Breathe in deep and breathe out long. Come back to standing at the front of the mat. So as you make your way to the front of the mat, stand tall in Tadasana when you arrive at the front of the mat. Just allow this nice fullness in the upper chest, nice engagement of the arms by spreading the fingers, an engagement of the legs, rather than this kind of sanitized, normalized Tadasana for yourself. See how you can create a feeling of spaciousness with the breath. See how you can create the Tadasana that feels kind of like the perfect Tadasana for you today. On the in-breath, reach your arms up. On the out-breath, take your arms just halfway down. With your arms halfway down, step your right foot back. And with your right foot back, just a twist again here. So have your back heel rooted down. As you inhale, take your arms up again and twist and reach your arms out to the side. So you just get this nice length. And inhale, root through the back heel to lift your arms up. If you're feeling a little wobbly, then take your Feet just slightly wider apart so you balance yourself nicely. And exhale 2 more times. Twist as you take your right hand forward, the left hand back, open the chest, and rise up. Come back to center in the straight leg pose. And one more time, twist as you reach your arms out. Inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, release your hands down. Step your back foot forward. Take your left foot back and root down through the back heel. Adjust your stance so that you can be here for several repetitions here of the twist. Take your arms out wide, spread your fingers. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, twist and reach your arms out with the palms facing up. Inhale, take your arms up, come back to center. Keep your back foot rooted as you twist. Open your arms wide. Inhale, take your arms up, back to center. And exhale, twist, open up wide. And reach your arms up. And exhale, release your hands down back to Tadasana with your feet parallel and about hip distance apart. Place your hands to your low back. With your hands to your low back, step your right foot back. With your right foot planted, just draw your heart forward. Keep your hands to your low back for now. Just hug the elbows in toward each other. Let your right hand go free and reach it toward your left foot, left ankle, left shin bone. And twist yourself. Just keep your left hand to your low back. And inhale, take your right hand back to your low back and rise up. Take the back foot forward and step your left foot back. Adjust your stance so you feel very stable and balanced. And draw your heart forward. Keep your back heel rooted. Let your left hand just kind of draw toward the right leg. And as you do, you lengthen from the pelvis to the crown of the head. Take the head of the right arm bone way back, so you're twisting nicely. Your right hand is just helping you preserve that nice alignment of the pelvis in the pose. And place your hand back to the low back and rise up. Step forward to Tadasana. Pause here and receive your breath. Find that spaciousness. In the yoga teachings, space is movement. The more you create this inner space, the more, even in this static pose or seemingly static pose, you feel this nice fullness. Now, with your eyes bright, inhale, take your arms up and reach them back. Exhale, come to the forward fold. With your knees bent, step your right leg back. Step your left leg back. Come to a plank position and lower yourself to the mat. On the mat, reach your hands straight back. Have your palms pressed down on the mat. Bend your elbows slightly with your palms pressing, with your palms pulling in toward your heart. Inhale, lift yourself up. Exhale and soften. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, soften. One more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, soften. Place your hands right alongside your ribs. On the in-breath, Press both feet down and reach your heart forward and exhale. Come back either to downward dog or child's pose and just pause here for a moment. And as you do, you just once again focus on the spaciousness that you can create in the practice. Just by creating that space, we're in action, we're in movement. You find different possibilities with more space. We're more creative with all that space. We're able to take more risk, to put ourselves out there. Now, walk your hands back to your feet so that we all arrive at the back of the mat. With your feet hip distance apart, place your hands right above your knees and straighten your arms. So you're in this bent knee position. Take your arms up, so now you're in the chair position. Utkatasana. Take your hands wider apart, spread your fingers. Look down at your knees and see if you can take them back slightly. Take your pelvis back. But rather than your belly kind of being like a hammock, just kind of jutting forward, see if you can draw the navel back slightly to create more fullness in the kidney area, to create more fullness in your low rib area. Find that brightness to the back side of the body. And root down to rise up out of the pose. And exhale, release your hands. Now, if you have a wall close by, let's take our legs up against the wall so that you get a nice stretch of your hamstrings. If you don't have a wall, then just take your feet straight up, lying on the mat. So as you come to the wall with your pelvis close to the wall, or just lying on your mat with your legs straight up, take your attention to your feet and draw from your feet to your pelvis. Get a nice engagement in the legs. And just move the right leg away from the wall. Keep your left leg where it is. Interlace your fingers behind the left leg, the right leg, sorry. Maybe you can take the interlaced fingers behind the knee or behind the calf muscle. As you lie against with your feet against the wall, it just allows the spine to have this very neutral and more spacious alignment. Standing, we often tend to round and therefore shorten the spine. So this keeps the spine long as you work to lengthen the back sides of the legs. Release your right leg back to the wall and just pause here for a moment. Close your eyes. Now that we've done some stretches to the back sides of the legs, this feels very easy, very accessible. So even with this ease, see if you can keep this remembrance of engagement of the legs. So as you keep your right leg at the wall with the toes spread, take your left foot away from the wall and interlace your fingers behind the thigh there. Spread your toes. Just let your interlaced fingers travel up toward the back side of the knee or the back of the calf muscle. Keep your right leg active, your left leg active, and release back. And as you let your arms just be supported by the earth with the palms facing up, see how you can just encourage your breath to create this nice brightness. And this inner brightness kind of reminds you of the spaciousness that the breath gives you or that the practice leads to. Stay here for 5 more breaths. And as you keep the breath active, also keep the muscles of your legs very active. The more you activate the muscles of the legs, the more you encourage this nice curve in the low back. You strengthen the lumbar curve. And that strength provides for overall length. And after your 5 breaths, slowly come out of the pose to all fours position. We'll come to the pose called Bridget's Cross. So as you come to the pose, I like going to this through downward facing dog, but if that doesn't work for you, you can make your way through all fours. Take your right foot just over to the right side with the right leg straight, with the left leg straight, the left toes tucked under. Draw your right hip down to the floor and come to your forearms. So your back foot is still tucked under and the knee is lifted. Your right foot is moving to the left side and the pelvis is down. With the forearms pressing down, inhale and lift your pelvis up just so that you can adjust and externally rotate the extended right leg. Do that 2 more times. Press into the forearms to lift your hip up with your back toes tucked under. Readjust so that you can bring your left ribs just a little bit closer to the mat and the right ribs can lift up. Let's do that 1 more time. As you press into the back foot, you lift your pelvis up. You do more rotation as you drop down. And you receive your breath. And slowly make your way out of the pose to either downward facing dog, so you could trade sides, or however you get there by taking your left foot right under your right armpit and draw your pelvis down. Keep your back toes tucked under. Come to your forearms again. So both legs stay very active. So we've been doing forms of this pose throughout the sequence. Now that we're resting on the pelvis, it tends to kind of create less space from the pelvis to the armpit unless we readjust. So as you press your forearms down, lift your pelvis up, keep your back legs strong, to rotate, to bring the right ribs just a little bit closer to the mat. Left ribs can lift up more. Keep both legs active. So your extended left leg is pressing into the mat through the baby toe side, or pressing into the floor through the baby toe side. The extended right leg has the toes tucked under, the kneecap lifted. You have this nice dorsiflexion of the ankle. We'll do the second adjustment as you press your forearms down, lift your pelvis up, adjust by drawing your right ribs down, your left ribs up, and take it down again. Keep everything very active. The toes on the left leg inspired. And one more time, press down through the forearms, lift your pelvis up, twist yourself a little bit deeper, and draw the pelvis down. Pause here. Take yourself out of the pose to lie on your back, grab your strap, and as you grab your strap, we'll do the same pose, but on our back. So lie on your back. Take your strap around your right foot and just hold on to the strap here. So hold on to the strap with two hands. Have the strap right at the base of the toes. With your left leg down, just adjust the position of the right foot so that the low back is not pressing into the mat. So for most of us, that means taking the right foot away from the face a little bit more. Spread the toes of the right foot. Grab the strap with your left hand. Reach your right arm out and on the floor. Now come to that same pose that we were in when we were on our belly, but just cross the leg over. So as you cross the leg over, spread the toes. Keep the bottom leg very active. Keep the top leg very active. Keep the top leg very engaged. And see if you can bring the shin a little bit more parallel to the mat. So this is the same pose that we started with in the standing version, right? As we were going into the twist, Just open up the side body, creating more space, giving us more freedom for movement. Inhale and lift your foot up and trade sides. Slip your left foot into the strap. Let your right foot be free. So with the left foot in the strap, take the strap nice and wide apart. Spread your toes. Keep your back leg really solid. With two hands holding onto the strap, once again, find the space in the low back by taking your left foot back a little bit more. So you got this really nice lumbar curve first, before taking the strap in the right hand and releasing your left arm to the earth. And draw your foot over to the side. And as you come to the foot, roughly parallel to the mat, see how you can keep your right leg active the whole time. As you come to this twist, see about lifting your right ribs up as you draw your left ribs down. Give a nice openness to the chest. A nice ease to the breath. Inhale, lift your foot up, and exhale, release the foot, and find your blocks. As you lift your pelvis up, just settle onto one block or maybe two blocks or maybe the second height on your block, whatever feels right. And lift your feet up off the earth. So now you're in the shoulder stand position, a nice supported shoulder stand. And just like we were doing when the legs were lifted, just rather than take your feet too far forward to round your lumbar spine, take your feet back so that you enjoy this nice curve. Keep your legs active and pause. The spaciousness that we're working on in these twists to lengthen the right side and the left side of the ribs gives us this feeling of inner movement. There is so much freedom in space, in movement. That space gives us that movement. So see if you can kind of feel the movement from the inside. In the West, we're a culture that is all about movement from the outside. And the space that yoga gives us, the space to really dive inside, to find what movement, what creations that you can come up with. That's the yoga, to really go inside, to find that space. And that's where you can express the freedom. Stay here for 5 more breaths. And slowly bend your knees to take your feet to the mat. Lift your pelvis up off the block. And just move in any way that makes you feel like you're just releasing your muscles to settle into Shavasana, your resting pose. As you stretch your legs out as you're ready and release your arms, just invite your breath to be very engaged, very full. So you create that space. Once you feel that spaciousness, you go there. You dwell in that spaciousness as you let your arms just soften and release, your legs soften and release. Your facial muscles soften and release. You find this ease in your breath. You feel so rooted to the earth. That it allows the outer body to soften. So that you can place all your attention inside. Continue to enjoy the ease of Shavasana. Namaste.